Welcome to our countdown of the top 10 best RPGs of 2016 so far. There's been a lot of great RPGs this year, from longtime fan favorites to new indie hits. It's all been here in 2016. Without further ado, let's get right into this with number 10. Number 10, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth is the first Digimon game to come stateside in several years. The game was originally released in Japan back in 2015 on the PS Vita, so don't expect visuals that will blow you away, as the PS4 version is just a port. But looking outside of that, if you're a Digimon fan, you'll get a kick out of this game, and even if you're not, it's a very competent monster collecting RPG in its own right with a solid story and gameplay mechanics. It's definitely not at the height of grandeur, but it's a pretty good RPG available on the PS4 and PS Vita. Number 9, Odin Sphere Leifthrasir. Odin Sphere was one of the PlayStation 2's best game. It released back in 2007 and was a 2D action RPG developed by Vanillaware, the guys that made some other great RPGs such as Muramasa the Demon Blade and Dragon's Crown. Odin Sphere Leifthrasir is the HD remastering of the original game, now running in 1080p and 60 FPS with new enemies and stages and both English and Japanese audio. If you've never played Odin Sphere, definitely check out this version. It's available on PS4, PS3, and PS Vita. Number 8, Solemn Sanctuary. Solemn Sanctuary is an indie 2D action RPG that's inspired by Dark Souls. It has a lot of the similar mechanics, but the game also has its own unique elements that make it stand out, such as the excellent 2D hand-drawn art style. You've got different weapons, you can go two-handed or use a shield, magic is also available. The game is challenging and addicting and worth your time. Solemn Sanctuary is available on PS4 and PC. Number 7, Valkyria Chronicles Remastered. Valkyria Chronicles was one of the most underrated PS3 games. It's a fantastic strategy RPG with a great watercolor art style, a captivating story, and deep tactical gameplay. The game luckily saw a second wind with the release of the PC version, and earlier this year it came over to the PlayStation 4 with fairly standard refinements. It's now running in 1080p and 60 FPS, all of the DLC is included, and you've got English and Japanese voiceovers. For fans of strategy RPGs that have never played Valkyria Chronicles, this is a must-buy. It was released at a budget price and it's easily worth that. Number 6, Hyper Light Drifter. Hyper Light Drifter is an indie action RPG inspired by 8 and 16-bit games of the past, such as The Legend of Zelda. The one thing you'll notice immediately when looking at Hyper Light Drifter is its gorgeous pixel art style. While it pays homage to old school games, at the same time it's got a modern look to it that just blends together so well. Aesthetically, it's a very well crafted game. It also has some excellent music. Fans of old school games will absolutely love Hyper Light Drifter, but there's also a lot of charm that allows anyone to appreciate it. Hyper Light Drifter is currently only available on PC, but will soon be coming to PS4 and Xbox One. Number 5, Darkest Dungeon. Darkest Dungeon is a roguelike dungeon crawler that's been in early access for a long time now, but it was finally fully released earlier this year. Darkest Dungeon pits you exploring a manor with a roster of heroes, and throughout the game you'll recruit more heroes, upgrade existing ones, etc. Pretty standard RPG mechanics, but it does have its own elements. Darkest Dungeon is a very addicting game that you can find yourself saying just one more hour or one more quest. It's difficult but never frustrating, and only to the point of making you want to find better strategies. Darkest Dungeon is currently only available on PC, but it's expected to release on the PS4 and Vita sometime soon. Number 4, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen on PC. Dragon's Dogma was originally released back in 2012 on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and when the game was released, many wondered why there was no PC version. The console version had a litany of performance issues, and it would have been great to see it on PC. Years went by and nothing, until earlier this year, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen was finally released on PC. And while I wouldn't say the long wait was worth it, it was pretty nice to see the game on PC, and better yet, Capcom knocked the PC version out of the park. A smooth 60 frames per second, a variety of different settings to work with, no bugs or glitches. It was a very well done port. And not to mention that this is Dark Arisen, so it includes the base game and the DLC. If you've never played Dragon's Dogma, the PC version is by far the definitive experience of the game. Number 3, Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is another indie game that is inspired by old school games, Harvest Moon in particular. The game pits you in running a farm and living the life of a farmer. What's amazing about Stardew Valley is its variety and content. There's so much to do in the game, from exploring, cooking, crafting, taking on quests, etc. All of which never got repetitive even after 30 or 40 hours of play. There's also an active modding community to the game that adds another layer to Stardew Valley's replayability. Possibly most amazing of all, Stardew Valley was developed entirely by one person, and considering the quality of this game, that's very impressive. Stardew Valley is currently available on PC. It's expected to release on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One later this year. Number 2, the Banner Saga 2. The first Banner Saga game was released over 2 years ago. It was an excellent Viking-themed tactical RPG with turn-based combat to the liking of Final Fantasy Tactics. In nearly every area Banner Saga excelled at. It was a very good-looking game with an awesome art style, the soundtrack was on point, and it told a very emotional and captivating story. Earlier this year, we got the sequel, the Banner Saga 2, which largely follows what the first game did and improves in some areas. After playing the first Banner Saga, you'll be absolutely invested into the world. I would recommend to play the first game and then play Banner Saga 2. Both are available on PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
The clans under your banner. These are your tools to stay alive.
Number 1, Dark Souls 3. Earlier this year, From Software closed the book on one of the most successful video game franchises in the last decade in Dark Souls. Dark Souls 3 represents the culmination of all of FromSoft's work in the Souls games, and it shows. This is arguably the best game in the series, with phenomenal world design and detail that in some instances will take your breath away. Refined gameplay that works better than ever, the great boss fights you would expect from Souls, it's all here just done better. At this point, the majority of us have at least played Dark Souls, and if you're a fan of the series, you probably picked up DS3 already. If not, you need to ASAP. It's challenging, rewarding, and not only the best RPG of 2016 so far, but also one of the best games in all of this generation. So that wraps up our countdown of the top 10 RPGs of 2016 so far. What do you think? Which RPGs from this year have you enjoyed the most? Comment your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.